Hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. Now, I'm going to ask you a question about sex. And that is that, have you ever felt addicted to any part of sex? And that might be sex with your partner, or it might be porn, or it might be intrusive thoughts, wishful thinking, fantasies, maladaptive daydreaming, anything connected to sex. These days, there are a lot of people that are addicted to making connections on dating apps, whether or not they ever see that person. It gives them a dopamine hit immediately, or it might be following the lives of people on OnlyFans, for example. Now, the reason why I'm asking that question is that this is one of the fastest growing addictions. It's an addiction or an obsession with things related to sex. Because if we go back, let's say 300 years, your ancestors, your great-great-great-great-grandparents would be in a small village, or a small town, and the amount of attractive people that they might find of a similar kind of age might be 3 or 4, and they would be the same people over a particular time period, a week or so. Let's teleport back into the present, and an individual that has access to a phone or a laptop has access to over 1 million different people that they would consider attractive. And that might be people on dating sites, it might be porn actors, whatever it might be, they have the access. And the brain is hardwired to feel aroused and desire if they ran into the few people that meet their criteria. We don't have the same restrictions of the past. And I was working with a client that would spend a lot of their time, a lot of their energy, and a lot of their money thinking or doing things relating to sex. For example, they would see escorts, or they would go to massage parlors, or they would spend lots of time on dating apps with the goal of hookups. And what they found is that gave them a feeling of shame, of regret, of emptiness, and they didn't want that. They had a deep desire to have something meaningful. They wanted a long-term relationship, a family, and they felt that this obsession was impeding their ability to get what they really wanted. So what you're going to experience in this hypnosis session involves a form of time perspective, of imagining going forwards to, let's say you're 70 years old, and you get to imagine 2 different lives of you. The one that pursued gratification and lust and desire and transactional sex, and the other that found something meaningful. And by having those polar opposites, it enables you to figure out your value system as to what you really want. And the key here is what you want. There are people, and I've worked with them, they don't want long-term relationships. They don't want a family. What they want is they want the convenience and the attraction of something short-term. But there are people that really want something that society would consider more meaningful. So this hypnosis session is going to enable you to see what is important to you and to create the emotional leverage to create a change if that's something that you want to do. Now, it was created for an individual. Some of these references, some of these suggestions were perfect for the client, and they might not be relevant for you. So I'm going to encourage you to utilize any suggestions that are useful, disregard any that aren't. And if you like the idea of a bespoke session created just for you and your situation, there will be a link in the description where you can book a free consultation call, or you can check out my website, adamcox.co.uk, book a free consultation call there, and we'll have a chat. You might get some value from this and not need to do any of those things, but just know that that is a possibility. So for now, find a quiet, comfortable place where you're not going to be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm relaxation. And as you exhale, feel that wonderful feeling of release. And just imagine you're releasing any emotions, either present or past, that have been holding you back. Breathe in a feeling of personal pride and exhale any shame. Breathe in that feeling of meaning and exhale whatever feels meaningless. Breathe in a feeling of intention and exhale any feelings of regret. That's it. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you can feel. And the more relaxed you can feel, the deeper it's possible to breathe. And I want you to imagine staring into a mirror. But this mirror is no ordinary mirror. It's a portal back in time to your past. And I want you to see a version of you deeply fulfilled because you found meaning. And maybe it's a time that you were about to embark on a humanitarian trip. Maybe it was a time that you were obsessed, focused on a sport. Maybe it was a time surfing waves, connecting with nature and the sunshine. And I want you to imagine stepping into the mirror and finding yourself in that memory. But to begin with, not in your own body, but as an observer to a different time in your life. I want you to see what you look like when you had purpose, a goal, an objective, when you were doing something with the consideration of others. And maybe that's the results of a team performance. Helping people in a different continent with different needs. Or perhaps just connecting with something beyond yourself, maybe nature, maybe something spiritual. Most people connect nature with that spiritual feeling because of the power, complexity, the variety of nature. And as you observe that version of you, I want you to notice that when you are driven by meaning, when you are pursuing something valuable, beneficial, useful. Notice in that version of you how easy it is to say no to anything that represents gratification. I want you to get a sense that when you've eaten something delicious, your desire to snack on something processed and artificial is reduced. And I want you to imagine that life offers real, whole, authentic experiences. But it also offers synthetic, synthesized substitutes. I want you to get a sense that if someone was a child and all the way up until age 70, they only ate real foods, whole foods, nutritious foods, they would look different at 70 than if they spent their whole life chasing artificial, processed, synthetic foods. In fact, they may never even get to 70 if they were pursuing short-term pleasure, but at a very high price. And as you breathe in and breathe out, see a version of you that in that moment didn't want the fake stuff. You were pursuing something real and meaningful. Notice how that version of you is breathing when they're in a relaxed place, maybe sitting on a chair, lying down, resting, relaxing. Breathe the way that version of you breathes. Mimic the facial expressions of how that version of you looks. Imagine you can read the mind of that version of you. Some people believe that where focus goes, energy flows. The version of you wanting to improve, get better, help, assist, prepare, has no time to think about intrusive, compulsive, energy-draining thoughts. And when you're sure the version of you looks relaxed, fulfilled, with a connection with yourself, let me know by nodding your head. And then imagine stepping into that version of you. Feel how you would feel feeling fulfilled. That there is meaning to your existence. You know how to deploy your time, energy, and emotions. And notice how a desire to seek something gratifying and yet unfulfilling is almost non-existent. You know you can do it. You simply don't want to. This is the resource state. Not willpower, not self-control, but discernment that comes from having high standards, of knowing that you can, you're just choosing not to. You could choose to drink liters and liters of some soda, fizzy drink, and yet you choose not to. Because you know that any gratification is temporary. Those bad feelings of fatigue, inflammation, dizziness or nausea mean that it simply isn't worth it. As you connect to that feeling of being able to do something and choosing not to, I want you to imagine drifting forwards in time to experience a different life. I want you to imagine what it would be like to have a life where you only pursue something that has a rush, excitement, but is contaminated with shame, regret, and disappointment. It's like a mirage. Every time you get close, what you were looking for gets further away. And I want you to imagine what it would be to live your life from now until 70 in that way. You don't want a long-term committed relationship in this timeline. You want transactional relationships, flings, moments. And every now and then you find someone that gives you pleasure, but not real connection, not understanding. You're not in this together. You're just there right now. And imagine the years go on. And in your imagination, we can create a montage where decades become minutes. I want you to imagine 10 years of pursuing futile, meaningless relationships on dating apps. A decade of paying for sex. A decade of finding physical stimulation and gratification that is fundamentally empty. And I wonder what a decade of that would feel like. And then imagine another decade. Find a reflective surface, a mirror, a glass window that you can see your reflection, see yourself 10 or 20 years older. See the kind of women you're still pursuing. And as time goes on, I want you to get a sense of the shame is getting worse. Maybe contaminated now with embarrassment. It may have been the illusion in the past that a real moment was being shared. But as time goes on, you feel that you are simply a customer. That transactional relationship feels like something is being extracted from you, and you're getting less and less in return. Whatever pleasure you've had in the past seems to be getting less and less until it feels numb, meaningless, pointless, where your inner dialogue is screaming at you. Why did I do this? What's the point? And yet you continue. Another decade goes by, still pursuing those things that are transactional, meaningless, predictable to some extent, but novel. The faces change, the dynamics remain the same. And I want you to imagine something happens that can't be undone. Maybe it's an infection, a disease, maybe blackmail or something embarrassing, maybe violence, maybe something else. I want you to imagine that even that does not put you off. You put it down to a near miss or something you can explain away, and you continue, and imagine this continuing all the way until you're celebrating your 70th birthday alone. Imagine you with a cake and no one else around. No children, no grandchildren, no partner, just you blowing out candles with the number 70. And in that moment, you reflect back. At the point where you can't change your past, only think about your past. I wonder what you would have wanted to have done differently if only you could. At that age, knowing what you now know, would you trade in all of those flings and moments for something real? Would you trade pleasure with joy, gratification with happiness, connection, even a fake connection, with real love, commitment, support, understanding? And if you're unconscious, from this perspective is clear. Just because you can do these things doesn't mean you want to. And if you're unconscious is willing to change the trajectory, to follow a different path, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine considering a different scenario, still from the perspective of that 70-year-old. Imagine you at your current age making a decision. Instead of waiting until you're in a relationship to delete those apps, block those websites, imagine that version of you does it before. Imagine that version of you sets a new boundary, a new standard. Imagine that version of you over the next few weeks does something less and less and less until it's not there anymore. Imagine that version of you at that age finds something truly meaningful, a mission, an objective. And maybe that mission is to find that one person to build a family with. What if the thrill of pursuit moves from temporary to something more permanent? What if the thrill of the chase is to find that one person? And what if the criteria for that one person is that for them, you wouldn't want to be with anyone else? Not virtually, not temporarily, not transactionally. For them, you wouldn't want to. And more importantly, for you, you wouldn't want to. And I want you to see a whole different timeline developing, where you have less gratification and more real joy. You have less game playing and more real, authentic conversations. That version of you moves from short-term, temporary goals to how you want your life to be. And I want you to see those two timelines diverge. The version of you that continued and the version of you that takes a different path. And I want you to see that version of you. Perhaps find someone, commit to that relationship. Maybe it leads to children, a family. And because you've traded in thousands of hours of time, you've got money, time, and emotion to really invest in a business. See that business flourish. See that version of you get more dopamine and satisfaction and pride, and less of that regret, shame, and disappointment. And then imagine there's a knock at the door, and you invite someone else to come in to share your birthday cake. It's the other 70-year-old version of you, but they bring in their wife, their children, their grandchildren. It's you in a different timeline. And I want you to see how different they are to that version of you that stayed on that path. Your unconscious will tell you the differences. Maybe they have less shame and more pride. Maybe they've got more accomplishments, fond memories, and less regrets. Maybe there's less disappointments and more feelings of gratitude. Maybe there's less emptiness and more fulfillment. You'll know. And then decide the life you want to build. Sometimes we need to make it black and white, to make it clear what needs to be done. And if your unconscious is clear what kind of life you want, let me know by nodding your head. Step into that version of you and imagine going back in time to your physical body right now, knowing that you can choose each of these two futures and everything in between. No one's forcing you to be a certain way. It's what you're choosing. And if you know what you want, you now have meaning. You now have a purpose. You now have a plan. And every time you do things that align with that version of you, you will feel more fulfilled. You will feel less empty. And the clues on the way, whenever you feel gratitude, pride, and accomplishment, you know you're in that version of you. And when you feel regret and shame, then temporarily you've gone into the other version of you. Any one day means nothing. It's what you do consistently over decades that will determine who you are in your future. And if your unconscious is clear that you can get excitement, connection, thrills in so many ways other than temporary sex and flings, you can do it from exercise, from nature, from moments with a partner. Once you realize that there are many ways to get what you've been looking for, the real stuff, not the synthetic stuff, somehow it loses its appeal. And what if, when your unconscious was telling you, why am I doing this? What's the point? It really meant it. Not from shaming, but from curiosity. Why am am I doing this? What is the point? And as those questions create new meanings, you realize you've tested out this path and you don't want it. You want something real, genuine, fulfilling. That other stuff, what's the point? And as you allow these ideas to take root, imagine the next week. Imagine being tested. In every hero's journey, the change is tested. And sometimes it takes several tests until you are victorious. You vanquish that nemesis. I want you to think of the tests over the next few weeks that may test you. It may be an emotion, a message, an image. And I want you to think of how that version of you that is fulfilled would handle those tests. And each test that you pass will give you pride, will give you a feeling of fulfillment, of connection, of power, that you are in control of your life. And every test that is failed is merely a temporary setback until enough is enough, until it never happens again. And as you hold that thought, feel yourself floating back through the mirror, back from the future, all the way to the here and now, with clarity, purpose, and a new sense of what you really want. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken with a new sense of clarity. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.